Hey, Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. Starting off with a Christmas one, it being December 1st and all. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. And today's first story comes from my husband. 39 male is weirdly anal about our Christmas tree and is starting to piss me, 35 female, off. And it comes from Bring Us Figgy Pudding. Okay, posting with a festive throwaway just in case. Anyway, my husband and I have a really great relationship / marriage, and we have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm also 4 months pregnant with our third. Despite being an atheist, my husband loves Christmas. I'm not as into it, but hey, he makes it fun. But for some reason, decorating our Christmas tree is the area in which his worst, uncompromising tendencies come out. Husband thinks that the tree has to be decorated in a very exact way, or else it will look horrible. Very precise layers of glass ornaments, lights, and tinsel. And yeah, it does end up looking great in the end. The problem is that he won't budge with his efforts to achieve the perfect tree for the kids or anything else. The 5-year-old has been asking his father to help decorate the tree, but my husband says no, because our son doesn't know his system. I'm definitely okay with our kids being told no, but the thing is, I have so many fond memories of decorating my tree in a very non-precise slapdash way with my parents. Those are some of my fondest memories from my childhood, and I feel sad my son won't experience them because my husband needs to get something that only stays up for 2 months perfect. Besides, I feel like Christmas is more about the kids than adults, and he's being oddly selfish. I told my husband this, and in his characteristic kind of asshole-ish humor way, he said, "Well, your tree must have looked like crap then." I'm not offended because it's a fucking Christmas tree. Why does it matter so much? But I guess that's the core issue. Also, 2 years ago, one of our cats ate some of the tinsel and almost died. I've begged my husband for 2 years to stop using tinsel. He refuses, saying the tree looks awesome with it on, and that is my job to prevent my cats from eating it then. First of all, we got the cats together. Second of all, I really don't want to add babysitting a couple of wily cats to my already full plate, so that's irritating. Finally, what made me want to post this was the other day. Our 2-year-old daughter came home from preschool, having made some popsicle stick and macaroni art ornaments. Obviously, they're not Thomas Kincaid quality pieces, but it's my kid's art and I want to save it. I almost didn't get that chance because I caught my husband trying to throw them out. When I freaked out at him, he said they would never ever go on the tree anyway because they look terrible, so what's the point? And that I need to stop taking your pregnancy out on me. Yeah. The thing is, I've known about this Christmas quirk ever since we were dating, and at first I found it funny and weirdly endearing, and just gently ribbed him about it. And before we had kids, I was glad to let him go wild and have his fun. But now, he's been an inflexible arsehole and weirdly selfish about something that doesn't even matter all that much, to me anyway. But am I way off base here? Am I just being a nag and trying to prevent him from doing what he loves? Whenever I try to talk to him about this in the past, which has happened more than usual due to the whole cat thing, he gets indignant like I'm just trying to take something he enjoys away from him. That's why I'm posting this, to try and get some perspective from impartial people. Necessary disclosure, husband has OCD, however it is medicated and controlled in all other aspects, except for this. It feels like a lot of flags were jumping up in that story, and I'm glad OP mentioned the OCD at the end there because that's clearly playing a part in this as well, and I don't want to play that down at all either. You know, husband having to battle these uncontrollable thoughts like that. But at the same time, I just find it really sad as well. I think the Christmas tree one is pretty solvable, that you could potentially get 2 trees. But at the same time, I kind of feel sad that the kids can't do it with their father, who seems to love decorating the tree and, wanted to throw away one of their decorations as well. It just seems incredibly sad. I know a few families who let their kids decorate the tree and just, here's the box of decorations, have at it, enjoy yourself, while you're drinking a mulled wine or whatever and watching them just have fun with it. Not the kids drinking mulled wine, by the way. And the tree ends up, Most of the decorations just all around the bottom of the tree and the top half bare. But the kids absolutely love what they've done. They love everything about it. And, you know, when the kids go to bed, then it gets redecorated in a way that balances everything out. Not to undo what the kids have done, but just to balance the tree out, you know. And that seems to work well with them, or the 2-tree option. But to me, it just feels like a bit of the magic of it is lost if you're not doing it with your children. But like I said, throwing away the macaroni art ornaments as well it sounds awful. The comments, "Stop taking your pregnancy out on me." And for bloody hell, one of your cats almost died a couple years back, and you said to stop using tinsel, and he's refusing and says, you know, that's your job to prevent your cats from eating it. It's all worrying, really. But now we're going to go to the comments first before the update with a deleted user who says, "Thanks for the disclosure. I was definitely going to ask about OCD. Anyways, is it possible you can get a smaller tree for your kids to decorate? It doesn't seem like he's going to budge on the tree. You're being very accommodating to his needs, but there has to be some kind of compromise. Also, him saying that you're taking the pregnancy out on him is totally rude and insensitive. He should apologize for that and talk to him about not throwing away your kid's art. That really breaks my heart, and I think your kids would hurt over that too." OP responds saying, "Thank you, this was really good advice. I don't know why I never thought of a second tree before. I will buy one, even though Hubs hates artificial trees. Too bad." Bluespun replies and says, "I agree with the kids having a separate tree, but I would take it a step further. I would get him a smaller or separate tree and tell him he can decorate it as he wishes. Put the kids' tree in the main area of the house and tell him it's the family tree. Tell him you would love for him to join you and the kids in decorating it, if he wants. The kids will also be allowed to decorate it as they please, and he may not make anyone feel bad about it. I understand that he has OCD, but that's no excuse for making others, especially his kids, feel bad about what should be a fun family tradition. I can only imagine how hurt your kids would be if they saw him throwing out their ornaments or making fun of them. OCD isn't an excuse to steamroll over the rest of the family's feelings. If he feels that way, he needs to keep it to himself. The point of the Christmas tree for kids is to have fun decorating it and to get to display the terrible ornaments they made. To be fair, my mum still puts decorations on the tree that my siblings and I made when we were kids. They're not amazingly beautiful pieces, but it's fun to reminisce about them. I think we're all touched that she saved them all these years and still uses them." OP responds saying, "I'd love to do this, but husband insists on a real tree each year. I don't think a 5-foot pregnant lady should be moving an evergreen about the house. I think for now, I'll start with a small artificial tree. Maybe by next year, I'll get him to transition to the small tree." For the Thorn says, "I second the kid tree and another adult tree. One family I know does a tree in every room. Holy moly. One big 7-footer and a smaller 3 or 4-foot tree in every room. Failing that, consider a session of couples therapy. You and him need to compromise better. And if he's not willing to do that, you need to bring in another party to help, before you feel resentment. Finally, he may be feeling insecure about the new baby. Maybe that the kids matter more than him, etc. that you need to address early also. Take his whining seriously, or he may find someone else who does. And for dude insecurity, couples therapy. He may not be able to speak his feelings without getting angry or upset, so you may need a counselor to make this discussion happen in a safe and useful way. The baby is going to make everything worse, so whatever you can get in before the birth could be important for the rest of your marriage." OP responded saying, "Wow, this really hits home. I don't want him to think I prioritize the children over him, but lately it could come off that way. My job allows me to be at home a lot, while his is a traditional 9 to 5. I take care of the 2 little children as well as the cat, a big demanding dog, and whenever she needs it, my ailing mother. Often when I see him, I'm tired and stressed and barely functioning. We work together to make sure sex, date nights, snuggling, talking happens, but it may not be enough for him. We're also coming off of a slight rough patch due to my secondary infertility prior to this pregnancy last year. I was originally just going to pick my battles and buy another tree, but now I think we need to have a serious discussion. We also already have couples therapists we've gone to when we had a bad rough patch after our son was born. So after I speak with him, I'll make an appointment. Thank you." Scunches says, "His neurotic tendency towards order and control for how the tree looks may be due in part to his parents being hoarders. The home of a hoarder is not pretty. is filled with redundant junk that has strangely sentimental value to someone. Sounds like he pretty much went the polar opposite of his parents, and now the tree and his pretty well kept home is a symbol of how he escaped that fate. The kid's art, I can see how you'd been upset by that, and for him it may have been, this is how it starts. What other things I see as having no use will I be asked to keep around when clutter makes me very anxious? And Opie responded again saying, I definitely agree that his love of orderly tree is due to his upbringing. He was an only child and his parents were too distracted with their issues and alcoholism to do it, unless he did. It became the one part of the house that was neat and orderly. Later on, he grew to enjoy the aesthetics of a pretty tree, but that's how his hobby started. I was in his parents' horror house cleaning up, so it wouldn't be condemned, and I've never been so disgusted by any one place in my entire life. I agree too about the kid's art thing, especially after hearing his side. The twist is that his mother ended up being diagnosed with OCD. The house being on the verge of being condemned prompted him and his aunts to stage an intervention, which manifested itself in her hoarding, her obsessive needs to keep things, as well as her religious fervor. Father-in-law is just a depressive alcoholic. But yeah, since he inherited a disease, he thinks he is predisposed to hoard, and thus goes overboard in the other direction. And there was a lot more comments that OP replied to people, but I think we got the majority of the relevant information out of them. So now we're going to move on to OP's update to find out what happened next. So OP starts off with, first of all, thank you all so much for your replies on the original post. I'm blown away that it made the front page and that so many people replied. All of you were really helpful and put a lot in perspective for me. What became clear to me was that my issue wasn't with him decorating the tree as he pleased. It was his selfishness and contempt for his own children, and his dismissal of my feelings. So anyway, yesterday was both my and my husband's day off, so I decided to talk to him in the morning after both kids were at school. I told him right off the bat I was okay with him decorating the tree as he saw fit, but I had other issues. Second tree. I told him that I was going to buy, with my own money, an artificial tree that the children could decorate with their own ornaments, how they wished. He said that sounded like a good idea, especially since our son has shown interest. So that's all well and good. Cats. It turns out my husband has been harboring resentment towards the cats. You see, he is a dog person. We have one of those too, though he still likes cats and has grown to like them more after we adopted our wonderful pair. I was content to live my married life with him, just with dogs. But when they turned up in our yard as kittens, covered in porcupine quills, I couldn't not help them. And he said, of course, to us bringing them into the house once they were better. However, this was on the condition that I would scoop their litter box. He absolutely hates the fact that cats poop indoors, and anything have to do with the litter box makes him feel ill. He has been scooping the box though, and has the other times I've been pregnant, due to the risk of toxoplasmosis. When I was pregnant with our already born children, he was okay with this, but he's had to clean up cat scat for the better part of a year due to the secondary infertility I suffered. I was pregnant and miscarried 5 times. Now he has to for another 5 months, hopefully. He told me he knows it's illogical, but he despises doing it. And he's really started to resent the cats for, well, pooping, and views taking the tinsel down as another thing he'll have to do for them against his will, even though he didn't really want cats in the first place. I get his point of view, but I still told him he was being unreasonable. And would he really want Fred and Ginger to die because he's mad at them for going to the bathroom? And he said no, of course not, and that he loves them. Aw. So he went and took the tinsel down. Someone in the original post posted a link to tinsel from the Vermont company, and I showed him that. He got excited, saying it probably would look even better than the plastic tinsel, and we bought some. Thanks. The pregnancy comment. I haven't even finished my sentence and he immediately began apologizing profusely, saying he regretted saying that as soon as he said it, and that it was way out of line. I forgive him. Throwing out the children's art. I told him how horrified I was that he could be so cold regarding things our daughter had made him. At first he said he honestly hadn't viewed her ornaments as that important to save because our son had made the exact same ones in that preschool program. Another one of his obsessions is clutter in the house. His parents growing up were hoarders, and he does not want to be them. And I get that, but he can be a bit extreme about throwing things out, and we thought about it before. So I can get his brain being like, we already have one of those, must trash, because that's how it's wired. I still was not impressed by the argument, however, because they are hers, not our sons, and just because of that they matter, it's not like I bought the same ornament twice at Home Goods or something. I told him that it came off as unforgivably callous to be so uncaring about your young child's artwork, and he ended up agreeing with me. I told him specifically about what one of you had said, that he would regret throwing it out when our daughter was in college, and that really opened his eyes. I basically laid down the law and told him to never throw anything our children had created out ever, without at least asking me first. He said he wouldn't, and I'm holding him to that. Therapy. We agreed to talk to his therapist about this and also try to address our communication issues with a professional before the baby comes. He told me during this discussion that work has been so stressful for him lately and that he's been on the edge with that. And he's aware he hasn't been treating me or the kids the best he could because of that, and that he wants to make it up to us. I told him I understood he has OCD, but I don't think it's fair to hurt your family, especially your young kids, with it as someone who is aware of it. He agreed with me and said he learned a long time ago he could never use his mental issues as an excuse. So we went to Lowe's and bought an artificial tree together and put it in the other corner of our living room. When we picked the kids up from school, we told them it was theirs to decorate and they were so happy. It melted my heart to see, and I'm sure he feels the same. We put up the ornaments my son had made in preschool as well as my daughter's, and the baby's first Christmas ornaments my brother had hand painted them. Today, I'm taking them to go buy more ornaments for it, whatever they want. My husband made sure to spend time with them last night, and this afternoon is taking them out to see a movie, because he wants them to know that he adores them. All in all, everything worked out better than expected. I hope therapy will help even more, and I couldn't have so calmly laid out my complete thoughts during our talk without the help of the sub. Edit. Husband just came home from work with Star Wars string lights for the kids tree. They both love Star Wars. It's making my hormones go haywire. You know, I cover so many of these Reddit stories, you're always like wondering, when's the bad bit gonna come? And I'm glad that adult, mature conversation has won the day in this particular post. You know, she confronted him with what the issues have been going on. He acknowledged it and apologized for it. But I still got to admit, there was this tiny bit of me that was still sad that it's a separate tree and they're not working on the tree together. Maybe in the future, maybe things are changed, and I really do wish the best going forward for that family. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? As always, I'd love to know your thoughts if you're willing to share them. And just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the story, showing your love, support, and time towards the channel, towards the stories, and towards each other down in the comments below. It means the absolute world, so thank you. And if you do want to listen to more Reddit stories, don't forget there'll be a couple of playlists at the very end of the video that you can click on, and that'll automatically scroll through all the videos for you. So whatever you're doing, maybe a bit of Christmas baking, Christmas crochet, something festive and fancy. Don't know where that come from. Don't forget to let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.